Come on in, you guys. We're about getting ready to start another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website if you want to see any of the past episodes. We also throw all the episodes up on YouTube, so go over to youtube.com/livinglowcarbman. Also, you can just Google, or when you're on Jimmy Rants, when you're on YouTube, put in Jimmy Rants. Yes, I talk for a living, and sometimes I stumble over my words. It's all good. That's how you do the show. So we do a kind of an eclectic show here. It's not all about nutrition, even though that's a lot of what I talk about is health and nutrition. But we do a lot of things. And lately I've been talking about like reaction to the coronavirus. So we're going to keep that going here today because I had a sense, you guys, that a lot of you think that the only coverage of this coronavirus, COVID-19, is just all negative, all statistics about people dying and getting sick, and then the economic news of people not having their jobs, and then people like New York City and is going to shut down all their restaurants tonight. I mean, there's just so much kind of negativity out there about this coronavirus that I thought, you know what? You need to know that there's some positiveness going on with this as well. So let's not pretend like in the midst of crisis that good things don't happen. And I knew there were stories out there, but when I started looking this up, you guys, I got so many stories about random acts of kindness in the midst of the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis. This does not surprise me. Can I tell you a little something? I know a lot of us have lost our hope in humanity. A lot of us think the world has just gone crazy and it's all about being selfish. And it's hard not to see it that way because that tends to be, in a non-crisis situation, that tends to be what we see. But one of the cool things about going through adverse times, and we saw this after 9/11 and we're definitely seeing this now, is that people seem to go out of their way to just be kind to their fellow human being. I mean, what a revolutionary concept. Just be kind to people. Duh. Like, we have to be told that. Like, we celebrate it, and we should celebrate it, and we're going to celebrate it here today. But isn't it crazy that this isn't the default? Like, it doesn't have to be a time of crisis, global crisis, like we are right now, for people to be kind. I mean, be kind every day. And I know there's always going to be a-holes out there. They're not going to go away. Those people just exist. And so you people, if you're watching this, if that's you and you're an a-hole, go away. We need less of you in the world spreading your kind of vibe. And we need more people doing what we're going to talk about here today, and these random acts of kindness. And I have to tell you, this warmed my heart reading so many stories of things people are doing to try to make this situation a better one in the midst of it being probably the most unprecedented health crisis of our generation. Like, I've literally never heard anything like this before. And here we are. We're going to remember early 2020 in history books as the time when the world almost shut down, basically, if you think about it. All right, so let's get to these acts of kindness. And there's a bunch of stories, so bear with me. I'm not going to try to read the whole stories on all of them, but I do want you to get the gist of things people are doing in the midst of this crisis that's trying to make the world better for other people. So here we go. This first one is from eonline.com. There was a helper in London where a woman offered her neighbors help during this trying time. She wrote a note, and she left it to a lot of her elderly neighbors especially. If anyone needs anything during this crazy time, toilet tissue, help with shopping, errands if you're elderly or disabled, a cup of sugar, or just need an extra hand, we are happy to help. Please knock or leave us a note. And then they gave their apartment number. Isn't that cool? This girl who did that, though, one of the women who saw that came back with an act of kindness and gave this person a box of chocolates. And they wrote a message, "Good karma for your gorgeous offer of help to people downstairs. Thank you for doing that. You see how kindness begets kindness? It's really cool to see this happen. And the box of chocolates, that was pretty cool. All right, so here is the picture, by the way, of the box of chocolates that was left for her, and the kind little note that said, that was really neat that you decided to do that. So people are trying to get into a vibe of, we're having a tough time in the world right now, but it doesn't mean we need to be tough on each other. In fact, more than ever before, we need each other. We need love and support from other people, even complete strangers. Okay? So that's one random act of kindness. If you're just joining us, I wanted to highlight some random acts of kindness that have made the news in the midst of this COVID-19 coronavirus crisis, because it seems like all you see is the negative, 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 negative about this. And I want to offer, as I've been doing here on Jimmy Rants lately, a positive view of things that are happening. All right. This next one is from sports.yahoo.com. And it talks about 7 acts of kindness helping people through this pandemic. So the UN actually put out this urge to be kind to one another. And so kindness cards have been popping up. A copywriter from Cornwall, Becky Wass, created a postcard for people to offer help to vulnerable neighbors affected by the pandemic. After weeks of news about the coronavirus, I felt as if I'm sure many people did, very scared and helpless. My husband and I were talking about how it must feel if you are at risk, like the elderly, and you can't leave the house at all. We wanted to do something to help, but without making things worse. So they created a postcard and shared it all over social media. It soon became viral. And the postcard was obviously like, hey, if you need anything, we're here for you. Kind of like what I talked about in my earlier Jimmy Rants of, we just got to be there for other people so they're not feeling socially isolated as they're distancing themselves from people. So that's a cool idea. There's also Supermarket Pensioners Hour. A supermarket in Northern Ireland opens early just for elderly customers while the coronavirus is going on. Iceland Foods. They open their store between 8 to 9 a.m. and you have to be a certain age or older in order to shop in there. Could the wider public please respect this hour and understand this time is allocated specifically for elderly people only? Iceland appeal to people's better nature when realizing who needs the priority. So how cool is that? Like, think if Walmart made a policy that from 8 to 9 a.m., only shoppers 70 years old or older are allowed to shop in there. That would be a kind of a cool thing. The move was made amid chaotic scenes as people were stockpiling toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and bread, and all the shelves were empty. And there's the elderly people scared to death they're going to get this while they're out, and then finding no supplies when they are there. So that was interesting. There's an educational technology company called Twinkle. They've offered a month's free subscription to its teaching resources for parents in the UK affected by potential school closures. These KS1 school closure home learning resource packs for students in year 1 and year 2 will help them distance while they keep their learning going. A lot of schools are closed right now, and it would be really neat with all the technology we have if there would be some sort of online course that could keep the learning going. I mean, just because this thing happened doesn't mean schools and kids need to stop learning. So if you're a parent, I hope you're trying to find some of these resources, but here's a company that makes those kind of things, and they're making it available for free to parents in the UK. That's pretty cool. Beauty Banks has launched a GoFundMe campaign enabling people to donate so that those living in poverty can have access to things like soap, sanitizer, and sanitary products. The charity is appealing for people to join virtual hands, support people who can't afford to protect themselves and their families against this pandemic. As the virus spreads in the UK, people living in poverty are among the most vulnerable because they can't afford these essentials, can't afford to stockpile all of these, and rely on food banks for the basic hygiene. By Monday afternoon, about 3,000 people had donated about 62,000 pounds, which I think is around $75,000. That's pretty cool, right? Owners of a shop in the UK have spent around 2,000 pounds providing free packs of face masks, sanitizer, and wipes to people over the age of 65. They run the Day-to-Day Express, delivers packages to those unable to make it to the shop, including 30 to a local care home, an elderly home, nursing home. The hundreds more to elderly and disabled residents in Scotland. I met a woman crying as she was at the supermarket and there was no more hand wash. Some people are asking for them to be delivered because they don't drive, they're disabled, or they're so old and fragile that they're afraid they're going to get the coronavirus. You see how these random acts of kindness, guys, are making such a difference? Like in the midst of probably one of the worst things we'll go through as an inconvenience to our life and an actual risk to us, there's such good stuff happening. I hope you're going to get that. I've got a whole bunch more here, but I'm trying to let you see really cool things are happening on a human level. And if we remember the humanity of this whole situation, that real people are being involved and being affected, it reminds you that you want to be kind and you want people to be kind back to you. So let's keep going. So there's a football club who is donating food. They shared the free packed lunches and hot dinners when their game was postponed. By the end of Saturday, all the food had been allocated. So in other words, a lot of these sporting events had food ready to go and then they got canceled. Well, all that food didn't go anywhere. So they donated it to local homeless charities and housing shelters. We're going to see that again here in a minute in another story. That's happening here in America too. 850 staff-packed lunches and hot food all got delivered to homeless charities, and it was all food that would have gone to waste had it not been donated. Also, free therapy for the vulnerable. Support networks are springing up to help vulnerable people as they self-isolate. The Help Hub is a free online clinic in West Oxfordshire, again in the UK, offering 20-minute therapy sessions by phone, Skype, or FaceTime to elderly, people who are at medical risk, those in need of support if they have had to self-isolate. It's a practical and emotional community service for people feeling scared and panicked right now. How cool is that? This is the generation, talking about the elderly generation, that fought in World War II. But you can dodge bombs in the war, you can't dodge this virus. So that's a lot of good stuff happening over in the UK. In Canada, Calgary has some acts of kindness happening as well. There was a Facebook group created called YYC COVID-19 Volunteers, looking for people in Calgary to help in community members affected by this. It's what we need right now more than ever, said the co-founder Eric Pragnell. Positivity. I'm just really happy people are actually doing things. They're delivering food to people, shoveling their sidewalk, talking to each other. Complete strangers have now forged lifelong friendships. How easy is this? All these things I'm mentioning, all it takes is being a little selfless and seeing yourself and your family in other people. I know that's so hard in this day and age where we are very much a me society. People like to focus on themselves. It's just human nature, I suppose, that people do that. But we're finding that deep down inside, most people have a heart. Most people have a selflessness within them. And it's sad that it takes a tragedy like the coronavirus outbreak to kind of make this kind of come to the surface. But here we are. And it's proving once again that we should not give up on humanity just yet. The group has had more than 2,500 members as of Sunday, has become more than just an efforts-oriented volunteer group, but a community gathering place. People who share anxieties are met with uplifting messages. So some people have posted that they're feeling really well, that they're really feeling at their wits' end, not feeling well. that they're worried and that they're scared and they don't know what's going to happen. They think the sky is falling. It's really nice because they've been able to get comforting words from these complete strangers. The group has been so successful, moderators have had to ask people to delete posts for help because so many people have responded. One woman who needed help getting groceries had 6 people anonymously just drop off the groceries for her at her house. He said too many kind actions isn't a bad problem to have, though. So it's cool, though. It's so neat to see this. Many others around the city have taken to social media offering their help with everything from grocery shopping, sourcing cleaning supplies, offering tips for small businesses, and sharing protocols for condominiums. So a lot of local businesses are also getting in on the act. They're going to face a huge hit to their bottom line with this, but look at what one of the businesses in Calgary was doing. A lot of it is like the flood. It's about connecting the dots, staying in contact with people. It's a global issue. It tends to get overwhelming, and it's extra support that we focus on supporting the people in our city. They're encouraging people to shop local. One idea that I heard a little bit earlier was if you order takeout from one of these restaurants right now, which they're saying don't go to a restaurant, but order takeout. When you order takeout, also order a gift card. So when you do that, you're saying, not only am I supporting you now, but I'm going to support you when this is all over by using the gift card. And so they're getting the money now. It's kind of a cool idea as well. Another random act of kindness to show your support for your local community shops. There's a local grocery store in Calgary offering a free care package to people who've been required to quarantine. It contains non-perishable items like canned meat, pasta sauce, juice, and they're all delivered within the Calgary area. And then Shaw is providing free access to their Wi-Fi hotspots all over Western Canada for anybody. As the world navigates through this pandemic, it's become even more important for people to stay in touch with friends, family, and loved ones, and first responders to stay connected wherever they are. So this ISP, Internet Service Provider, is offering their Wi-Fi hotspot at no charge so that people can stay connected. Are you feeling a little better about how this is going? Like, again, you can get overwhelmed by all the negativity, but I'm sharing a whole lot of like positive things that are happening with random acts of kindness. This next story, KSDK. First and second graders hold a kindness march in the wake of the coronavirus. So, let's see, children 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are joining together to march on behalf of supporting people to be kind during this coronavirus crisis. The kids are from Maplewood Richmond Heights Early Childhood Center. They sing in Lean on Me, having a march for kindness. They want to stand up for something, said the teacher. Kids are taking small steps to show it doesn't take much to be kind. They had just done a lesson about Dr. Martin Luther King and the March on Washington, and so they wanted to do this march for kindness. So one sign said, "Be kind to animals." Another sign said, "The kindest people I know in my life are my mom and dad and friends." It's cool, like teaching kids the value of kindness at that age. Man, doesn't the world need that right now more than ever? All right, next one. CNBC also talks about the kindness postcard and other gestures. So we already talked about the kindness postcard. Let's see. People on neighborhood website Nextdoor were offering to buy goods and run errands for people. Their community has run sponsored posts encouraging people to get involved, help your neighbors, has a link to its blog suggesting people help with childcare, create support groups, post on the website if they need help. Another example, videos were being shared on social media of Italian citizens singing and dancing during a nationwide lockdown. The videos from various cities and towns show people singing from the balconies and windows in order to help boost morale. Now, I don't recommend you go out in your yard right now and just start spontaneously, let's don't do that. But unless you sing good, then go out there and entertain everybody. It's not just those who are self-isolating that need help. An Australian grocery store chain called Woolworths said it would implement an elderly and disabled only from 7 to 8. So we talked about that over in Ireland earlier in another story. It's happening in Australia as well. Coles is another one that's in Australia that has 2,500 outlets. It would only allow elderly and disabled during the first hour that they're open. An Iceland grocery store in Northern Ireland, which we talked about earlier, is open from 8 to 9. People are donating funds. A search on the GoFundMe website for coronavirus brings up more than 6,000 results, mostly from Italian hospitals that have been hit hard by this. One of the campaigns for the San Raffaele Hospital in Milan has raised over €4 million, $4.47 million. Guys, there's hope for humanity. Good stuff is happening in the midst of this really horrible incident that's happened in our world history. And we need to remind ourselves, what am I doing to make the world better in the midst of this? What am I doing to ease the pain that others are going through? Maybe you're going through pain yourself. Can I tell you a little secret? When you're in pain, one of the best ways to get out of pain of a situation like this is to do good for others. There is definitely never a downside to doing good for other people. I know that's devalued in our culture of me, but what can you do? How can you use your gifts and talents and abilities? I hope these Jimmy Rants is my gift to you guys to be able to give you calm in the midst of something that's pretty horrible. And it's one reason I've come on here every day trying to encourage you, is I felt like that's something I can do. And a lot of you have told me that this has really helped you out. So I'm glad that we're here. All right, next one is from MSN.com, and it's out of Boston. They have been told in the public schools there to socially distance themselves at least 6 feet apart. And so some of the people have been ordered to work from home. But as people try to follow these guidelines, the resulting chaos and fear, bringing communities both large and small closer together. So simple acts of kindness are popping up there. Jesse, Farron, James helping out by taking the form of organizing trips to the grocery store, using a Costco membership to buy in bulk to help out neighbors. She posted the offer in a Facebook group for Hyde Park residents, that's near Boston, that has 3,000 members. She got a few takers. I just feel so lucky that I have so many people in my life to lean on, and so heartbroken that not everyone has that. She also said the community's coming together. There are so many good and amazing people offering help. Parents have also been mobilizing through social media. A Facebook group called Dot Parents, an online forum, has been circulating to raise money to buy food and supplies for students and families in the city's largest neighborhood. Because a lot of these kids, the only meal, the real meal of substance that they get a day is their school lunch. And so now that schools are closed, that school lunch isn't happening. Now, a lot of these schools are staying open for the lunch service so the kids can come get their lunch and eat, but a lot of them aren't. And so those are the ones that this kind of program can help with. There was more than $2,000 raised by neighbors and put in toward items purchased through a restaurant supply company. A group of volunteers bagged up those supplies and then dropped them off at schools in the community for those that need it. So food insecurity is a real issue in Boston, not just in Boston, but in all the big cities. And this crisis is going to exacerbate it. This is something you might not have thought about because if you live a generally middle class or upper class kind of life, you don't know that there's a lot of people that are food insecure. They're not sure if they're going to have their next meal. And so in the lack of that, assurance, this kind of an incident like the coronavirus outbreak is making people isolate. It's making people even more food insecure. Everyone's feeling anxious and uncertain. And besides avoiding social contact and washing our hands, there's not a lot more we can do. Here's something we can do that will address the hard outcomes of this disease. So that idea caught on. Friends in 4 other states have since adopted the exact same campaign. They wanted to find a way to get landlords to temporarily waive their rent for people struggling financially because they're not at their job right now or their hours have been cut back. This is all good things happening in the midst of this. At Harvard University, which announced Tuesday students should not return to campus, an online sign-up sheet was started to help those facing burden when it comes to travel, finding a place to live since they can't stay on campus after March 15th, and then storing their property, which is still on campus. So they put out a call if you're able to host a student for a short duration after Sunday until they're able to return home, or they're able to share some students' belongings for the rest of the spring semester and through the summer. We would greatly appreciate help in this difficult and confusing time. Students and faculty have been banding together, offering assistance and guidance for people trying to move at the last minute. At Wesley College, which announced Thursday students must leave campus by next week if they're able to, an online group was created with the idea of students, alum, faculty, and staff all coalescing to provide assistance to those who are scrambling to find a safe place to land. Some people have been offering to give away their frequent flyer miles so students can get back home, store their belongings, give rides across the country, and open their doors for temporary lodging. Good things happening, guys. A local brewery and restaurant was cooking up free half pizzas for the students. We'll hand out as much pizza as we can possibly make. And a lot of the students at Harvard and Framingham were very grateful for that. All right. Got more. There's plenty more. There's a hashtag that's gone viral, by the way, if you want to talk about this. Hashtag coronavirus kindness. Pretty cool. Let's see here. One lady took to Twitter, I'd be willing to buy groceries. I bought the groceries and placed one in an elderly lady's trunk, gave her back the change. She told me she'd been sitting in her car for 45 minutes when I arrived, waiting to ask the right person for help. Maybe you go to a store and you see somebody sitting in their car. Look for it. Like, look around. See if somebody's waiting, desperately hoping somebody would help them. A 6-year-old girl in Minnesota saw her brother, who was crippled with anxiety because of his autism, start to tense up while he was watching the news. She grabbed his hand and taught him a Bible verse, 2 Timothy 1:7. But God did not give me a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. That's pretty neat. Trying to comfort each other. Country music star Martina McBride is raising money to feed the community in Nashville, which, if you remember, it was about a week ago, Nashville got hit by some brutal tornadoes. So they're still reeling from that crisis, and now this is happening. And so Martina McBride is doing her part to try to help out. Another news story, and I'm almost done with the news stories. BBC, a charity called Beauty Bank, supplies essential toiletries to people in poverty. They had an emergency virus-related appeal on Sunday, and they raised £60,000 to try to buy supplies. Let's see. So many good stories, you guys, and it's just amazing to me. I shouldn't be amazed by this. Like, I've always believed in the power of good in people. I've never assumed people are inherently evil. I think deep down inside, most people, average, everyday people, have a good quality heart. And they want to help people, and they're real sincere about it. But it's hard to see that because it seems like, especially on social media, stay off of Twitter, by the way. It's disgusting on Twitter. But Instagram, Facebook, it seems to be a more kind place. All right, let's see if there's anything new. I think I hit all of. Oh, this is from the Oregonian, OregonLive.com. A restaurant in Washougal Times is offering meals of soup, bread, fruit, and a snack Tuesday through Friday to help kids who need lunch right now. We're all feeling powerless, but one thing we can do is feed kids who are depending on reduced and free lunches. The Moda Center will sit dormant for the next month. No NBA games, no concerts. The stadium had so much food that would have otherwise spoiled. So the Arena and Levy Foods, the hospitality company that serves venues worldwide, or nationwide, said it would donate 2,800 pounds of food to a Portland-based food company that can distribute the food. Otherwise, it would have been wasted. The Laughing Planet Cafe, the burrito and burrito bowl purveyors, said on Facebook it would give children who qualify for food assistance a free meal. They have cafes in Portland, Eugene, Vancouver, Corvallis, Bend, and Reno. Rebecca Mara, she's a professional runner in Bend, Oregon, went grocery shopping earlier this week. An elderly woman yelled to get her attention, and she went in to buy her $100 worth of food. Hood River's Tilly Jane's Sports Bar and Grill, providing free food to kids as well, who can't afford and don't have access to their free or reduced lunch program. Dan Clanton, who owns the Grill 1646, is providing free food to kids. He also provides hot dogs and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to any student for the next 3 weeks. So they can come in every day and eat at his restaurant. There's not going to be any questions asked about this. If you're hungry, just come in and we will feed you. Guys, if that doesn't bring emotion and tears to your eyes, you're not human. And I want you to know all of these things are easy to do. All of them. This is not hard. Right now is the time to step up. If you've even been like a little bit overwhelmed, concerned, panicked about this coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak, and you're just like powerless in your mind of what can I do? I hope today's Jimmy Rant showed you there's a whole heck of a lot of things that you can do. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. One thing that's super easy that anybody can do is to reach out to those people in your life who mean something to you and be there for them at this time. You also have neighbors around you. Like I've got all kind of people that live all around me here. Make sure they're okay. Check in on them, especially the ones that are elderly. Can I go grocery shopping for you? Can I take care of some essential needs? Do you need anything? How's it going? You see how this works? We don't need to isolate ourselves to the point that we don't care about what's going on in the world around us. I think most of us do care about the people around us, and you would step up. And it's a shame it takes crisis events like what we're in right now to bring that to fruition, to really prove the point. But the really cool part is it is proving the point. It is showing that there is great hope for humanity, that we aren't just existing in this world. We have good people around us. You are good people. And people right now need to know just how good the world is. Because again, people's brains are going haywire trying to process all this information. And they think they're all alone. And what a wonderful gesture it would be if you're the one that becomes an angel for someone to be able to finally realize there's hope again. Because even after this crisis is over, people are still going to need hope and they're going to need help. And don't let the coronavirus be the only time we ever help people. We need to be helping people all the time. A love for fellow humanity is a theme song of mine, if you haven't noticed. And so if you don't love other people and do things for other people in need, you're kind of a jerk. Let's just be blunt about it. We need to be loving towards each other. And my heart, more than ever before in my life, is so open right now to wanting to help as many people as possible. It's always been my heart cry of all the things I do, and it even more so is now. All right, let's see what you guys have to say over here on Instagram. If we have time, we will come to you guys on Facebook, so hang with me just a second. Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in. As always, go to jimmyrants.com if you want to see the past episodes. We also have them up on YouTube, so if you type in a keyword Jimmy Rants, you'll find the show over on YouTube. 2FixMJ says offering humor is a great connector as an act of kindness on our keto support Facebook group. Does anyone have a recipe using cauliflower to make toilet paper? I think that's great, by the way. I think another thing you can do on a Facebook page, rather than posting like news headlines about this, what is your favorite meme? And have like a meme off. Like that would be a cool thing to just like flood Instagram, flood Facebook, flood all of social media with these really silly, goofy memes. I mean, could you imagine getting people laughing in the midst of this? It would be really, really cool. Keto Purple Owl says these stories is an example of human nature at its best. Exactly. That's one reason I wanted to highlight these is I felt like most of the coverage was just overwhelmingly negative about all the bad things happening, and there was good things happening. And so I wanted to share. People are getting outside more in open areas, which is great. Excellent. I posted my number in my building of mostly seniors so they can let me know if they need anything, groceries, etc. And see, that's the way to do it, Keto Purple Owl. Thank you for being one of those conduits for acts of kindness, because we need more people like you. So thank you for that. All right, let's come over to Facebook. What's up, you guys? Let's see what you got to say. The saints come out when they're needed, says Norma. Amen. That they do. Our local electric company is foregoing turning off notices until further notice. See, I hope utility companies, and I know they're going to take a bit of a hit with that, but man, how cool would it be if they could afford it to even forgive the month of March and then delay having to pay next month until we figure out what's going on with this. West Virginia has a lot of school lunch programs. Now, no food from schools. Many food establishments are giving away free lunches during certain hours. Yep, just did a whole bunch of stories all about that. Berkeley says this kind of event can bring out the best and the worst in people. And the good news is, Berkeley, we're seeing a lot of the best right now. But you're right. There are some people that are taking advantage of this. I did post on my Instagram stories yesterday a guy that right before all the you-know-what hit the fan with this, he went to every single store in his area, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Walmart, Sam's, Costco, and he just bought every single bit of the hand sanitizer, hoping to cash in and resell it online at gouged prices. Well, the good thing is the local health authorities caught him. He had 67,000 bottles of hand sanitizer that he was trying to sell. I think he paid like $5 for them, and he was trying to sell them for like $25. Like people like that, there's a special place in hell for them because that's what's wrong. But hopefully what I've shared here today shows you random acts of kindness is more the norm than that kind of stuff. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you want to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me over on Instagram Live. I am at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. You can also go to JimmyRants.com, see past episodes, also YouTube.com, and type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You'll find the show. And so until next time, we'll see you then.